Hello, how's it going? Let me just check that I'm live. For those that have never seen me before, I've literally just let 22 women into the group. If you've never met me, never seen me before, literally this is your first interaction. My name's Adam Reed. I'm the owner and founder of ARC. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just going to check that we are live and I am in the group. Okay, I can't see that I'm live yet. Okay, if you can see and hear me, can you comment and let me know? I can't see that I'm live in the group. For some strange reason, it is not popping up. Ah, there we go. Okay, right. So I am definitely live. I can see that there's 11 people, at least 11 people watching. Got 3 likes. Awesome. So if you are watching this live, throw me a hashtag live. If you're watching this some point in the future, so you're watching this on replay, throw me a hashtag replay so that I can see kind of what time people are watching, when people are watching. One thing that's super important on these lives. So those that are new, we've got loads of newbies, like literally nearly 200 women have joined in the last week. So if you're new to this, I go live every single Monday at 8 o'clock. This is a one-off because it was Easter Monday yesterday. So this is the only Tuesday I'll be going live. So every single Monday, I'm going to go live in this group at 8 p.m. and I'm going to be dropping a ton of value. Now tonight, I am super excited. So if you're new, let me know in the comments. Comment with the word newbie. Let me know you're new to the group. But the reason I'm super excited is tonight I'm going to go really deep into the menopause. So I'm going to be explaining everything you need to know, everything you need to understand around the menopause, around weight loss, health, fitness, and at the end of all of these lives, there's an opportunity for you to ask questions. So if I don't answer what you want to know, you've got an opportunity to specifically ask me questions. So if you're excited, if you're ready for me to dive straight into this, then start pressing that like button, start pressing the love heart button. I'm just going to check the comments, give a few more people to jump on live. So Michelle's here. Hey Michelle, how's it going? She can see and hear me. That's awesome. Janice can see me. Diane's here. 2 Diane's here. Sarah Louise. Maureen's here. Whoop whoop. Love it. Michelle. Joey's here. So Joey's just signed up with us recently. In fact, Michelle's just signed up with us recently. She's got some awesome. I'm loving the love heart and the like presses. Michelle, that's awesome. Sam's a newbie as well. So that Sam's been in discussions about potentially working with us. So there's a few newbies that are actually members that are now working with us. So if you're new to the group, one thing about this group, I will provide a ton of value for free. If you go to the guide section, there is a ton of content there that will point you in the right direction. And every single Monday, I am going to go live and give you a ton more value for free, absolutely free. I will answer questions. I will present. I will give you client success stories. I'll show you how our members. However, with that in mind, I am also, some of you, not all of you, but some of you, I'm going to recommend that you work with us. We do have a private coaching program, a one-to-one program, and the results our women are getting are amazing. I've got a really good before and after tomorrow that I'm going to drop. Honestly, the change is phenomenal, and she's actually agreed to come on live in the next couple of weeks. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, if you don't like the fact that I'm going to give you a ton of value for free and potentially suggest we work together if I think I can help you, maybe this isn't the right group for you. Now, as I said, this isn't going to be for everyone. We're not going to work with everyone. We work one-to-one. We work with a very small number of people. Anyway, straight into it. I've seen there's loads of likes, loads of love hearts. I guess you're all ready to get going, so I'm going to get straight into this. Remember, if you're watching this on replay, get involved. Press the like button, press the love heart button. The more you get involved in this, the more you interact, the more you're going to get out of it, the more you're going to get from it. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to talk about the menopause. So the first thing, now statistically, I don't know whether in fact, let me know in the comments. Did you know this? Just put a yes or a no. Did you know that 90% of women gain weight during the menopause? Now, obviously, that's not the exact number. It's approximately 90%. But that statistic is true. That is the largest population of people to gain weight. So you're more likely to gain weight during the menopause than in any other kind of stage in life, than any other group of people. If you knew that, let me know. Just put yes in the comments. If you didn't, Hopefully you learn something soon. But that doesn't mean you have to accept it. It doesn't mean that it's something that has to happen. And tonight I'm gonna break all that down for you. So tonight I'm gonna break down skipped a page. Okay. Okay, I don't know why that slide is that last slide wasn't correct. So as I just said, you don't have to accept menopausal weight gain. It doesn't have to be something you just said. Even though 90% of women gain weight during the menopause, as you'll see from our client success stories, the majority of women we work with are perimenopausal or menopausal, and they're achieving incredible results. So just these 3 pictures alone obviously are showing you the changes. And some of these pictures are less than 12 weeks apart. Natalie in the middle, she's on Monday. She's going to be talking about her journey. She's lost more than 40 pounds. She did that within 6 months, and she's kept the weight off ever since. So these are all women that are going through the menopause. And you can see, like, look at the pictures on the left and the right, that stubborn belly fat disappearing. I'm going to talk about tonight as well why it is that menopausal women or women gain that stubborn belly fat around their midriff, around the stomach area through that particular stage in their life. So you're going to find out all of that kind of stuff tonight. So you're going to want to stick around. But what I want you to start thinking about, and I want you to imagine, is imagine going through the menopause and beyond, so your 60s, your 70s, later life, being in full control of your weight and ultimately your health and ultimately your quality of life, because that's what we're talking about. This isn't just about weight loss. This is about making sure that you have the absolute best quality of life, the best sex life that you can have, the best relationship you can have, be a role model to your family, more energy to run around after the children and the grandchildren. Like, it's all about quality of life. That's what we're trying. And tonight I'm going to peel back the curtain on how we help our private clients. But more importantly, tonight I'm going to break down all the nonsense around the menopause, and I'm going to break down everything that you need to know. So just going to see if I've got any more comments before I go on. Loads of hellos. Yes, I love that. Hi, Sue. No. Okay, so the good news. Okay, so the good news is you are not broken. All right. Now, there's probably many of you in this group that think, right, I'm menopausal. I've hit the menopause. I've gained weight. I can't lose it. Nothing I try, it just doesn't shift. In fact, just let me know, comment, that's me, if what I'm describing right now sounds exactly like you. Because typically all the women we work with, I'd say the majority, 90% plus, they jump on a call with me and we talk about what's going on, and the majority of women just can't shift the weight, or they shift the same 5 pounds, the same 10 pounds, and they just regain it over and over and over. And I hear a lot of women before they work with us say, oh, it must be my hormones. Okay, it must be because of the menopause. It must be because of HRT. It must be for this. And there are clever marketers out there. There are people that are selling supplements and all kinds of stuff that will have you believe you are broken. You are not. Okay, and I'm going to show you tonight that you 100% can get the results that you want. All right. So here's the problem. The problem isn't that you're broken. You're not. The problem is traditional diets. It's potentially those diet clubs, those cheap weight loss programs that maybe you've done in the past. But also, more importantly, you don't understand the what, why, and how. And tonight, I'm going to break down some of that. We're going to go into a lot of detail tonight. Now, I can't cover everything in under an hour, but I'm going to do my best, and obviously you'll be able to ask questions. So first things first, I want to get rid of the nonsense, because there is so much nonsense around the menopause. So much. That's me. I can see there's lots of that's me's. Michelle, you're definitely not broken, and you're seeing some incredible results. If you haven't seen Michelle's before and after, Michelle Dodson, I posted them a little while ago. She has already achieving incredible results. But first, I want to show you you're not broken, and I want to break down some of these myths. So I see a lot of gurus and doctors and people basically that will say, what you need to balance your hormones. In fact, let me know if you've heard this before, or you've potentially believed this, potentially tried this. So because you've gone through the menopause, your hormones are out of whack. So you need to balance your hormones. So If you have heard this or anyone has ever said this to you, ask them what their qualifications are. Are they a qualified doctor, and do they specialize in endocrinology? So that's someone who deals with hormones. So are they an endocrinologist? If the answer to that question is yes, okay, potentially they might be speaking some sense. But then the next question to ask them is, what hormones? What hormones specifically are you going to balance, and how is that going to impact weight loss? And how are you going to balance those hormones? So I'm going to absolutely blow this out of the water. You do not want to balance your hormones, because your hormones are dynamic. They are ever changing. So I'm going to talk about two hormones this evening, ghrelin and leptin. Now, these control your appetite. And whilst one increases, the other decreases. And then to vice versa, to control your appetite. And that has to happen, because we need them to fluctuate. We need them to change, because one will reduce your appetite as you eat and you feel full. It will essentially help you feel full. And then they will alternate to make you feel hungry when you haven't had a meal for a long time, so that you don't starve to death. It's a survival mechanism. So you don't want to balance your hormones. And it's just nonsense. So if you ever see anyone tell you you need to balance your hormones, that's why you're not losing weight, and that's why you've gained weight during the menopause, ask them if they're an endocrinologist, okay, if they specialize in hormones. What hormones do you need to balance? How are they going to balance them? And how is that going to help weight loss? If they can answer all of those questions in a simple way that you understand, because everything I do, as you'll see, is simple and so that you can understand it. I just want to speak common sense, because I could complicate things, but what they say is, those that want to confuse will overcomplicate. Those that want to help will simplify. And my job is to try and simplify things as much as possible, because I want to help. So that's the first myth. Bang. The next myth, your metabolism isn't broken. Okay. Firstly, you can't break your metabolism. Okay. Even if you have an underactive thyroid, we're going to talk about this in a minute, you still have a metabolism. It still works normally. If your metabolism didn't work, then you'd be dead, because essentially your metabolism is everything, bodily functions, keeping your body going. So I'm going to break this down. So here is your total daily energy expenditure. So you've got this big block here, which is your basal metabolic rate. Now, as you get older, your basal metabolic rate does come down. All right, I'm not going to go into loads and loads of detail, but essentially your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories, energy you need if you were to lie in bed all day. It doesn't really change that much. It does. So over time it goes down, and I'm going to explain the reasons why, but it doesn't really change too much. Now, obviously, if you have an underactive thyroid or thyroid issues, stuff like that, it will be slightly smaller. But the evidence suggests that this TDEE, so your total daily calories, so this whole block, at most is 20% less than someone the same size, weight, height as you. That's it. Even if you have an underactive thyroid, the biggest difference that has ever been measured in science is 20%. So even if you have that, you are not broken, your metabolism is not broken, you still can lose weight. And we have clients with underactive thyroids. In fact, one of the women we're working with at the moment she's got more than 10 autoimmune conditions. She's got she doesn't even have a thyroid gland, it was taken out. She's got so many conditions. She's lost nearly a stone since the end of January. And this is, again, a woman who just has not been able to lose weight, and her weight's been creeping up steadily. Now, I could go into this in more detail, but I've got so much more stuff I want to get through tonight. So just let me know in the comments, does this make sense? And by the way, I can see that Venetia, hopefully I say this correctly, Venetia. If you do have an underactive thyroid, yes, it can be a little bit harder. Yes, it can be difficult. Yes, it can be challenging, but you can still see results. And there are so many of our clients that are achieving results with an underactive thyroid. So if you are one of our clients, you have an underactive thyroid, or you used to be a client and you've still lost weight, you've still seen results, just let us know in the comments. Just say, yeah, like I've still seen results even with an underactive thyroid. So awesome. I see a couple of make senses in the comments, so people are with me still. Apologies if I'm moving quickly. I want to get to the real good stuff. We've got loads to cover. The next thing, this is a real new like fad trend coming in, and it is ridiculous. You don't need some special gut health diet. So the reason I say this is there's now people saying, oh, well, you need to sort out your gut. As soon as you sort out your gut, that's it, you'll lose weight. Okay, gut health is important. There is a link between gut health and mental health, 100%, not denying that. However, here's the problem. Scientists, researchers that research the gut, this is their job, that's all they look at. They do not know the optimal diet. They do not know the optimal treatments, whatever, for your gut. And here's why. Every single person on the planet has a completely individualized gut. And I mean gut microbiome, the microbes in your gut. So there is no set thing. There is no, you must eat this, you must do this. There is nothing out there to say, do this, and your gut microbiome will be perfect. And you'll have amazing gut health, and you'll lose weight. There are some like basic things that everybody can do to improve their gut health, like eat more fiber, potentially take a prebiotic and a probiotic. But the evidence around prebiotics, probiotics is they don't do any harm. So if you do take them, they're not going to harm you. But they might work for you, they might not. It's a kind of suck it and see. And again, this is because every single individual has a completely individualized gut microbiome. And even though I've just said eating more fiber, having more variety can help you improve your gut health, for some people that can actually cause a detrimental effect to your gut health. So it's very, very individual, and it's a kind of like suck it and see approach. Okay. And the other thing too, which is very concerning, and actually people probably aren't aware of, is that GPs have very little to no training on this. And when I say this, I mean the menopause, firstly, and secondly, weight loss. They get about an hour's worth of their course, of the content that they cover, to be a doctor, specifically for weight loss for the general population, an hour. So when you think about it, so me and the coaches that all work as part of my team, we completed a year-long level 4 nutrition qualification. So there are lots of like weekend nutrition qualifications. PTs will often do PT nutrition qualifications. Doesn't really cover everything that's needed for them to understand to be able to really help people. So if we compare what the qualification that me and the other coaches in my team have done, so it's a year-long program of study with exams at the end. And every single week there is an hour to 2 hour lecture with reading materials. And all of the content is, or not all of the content, sorry, take that back. The majority of the content is around weight loss for the general population. We will look at athletes as well, and we look at weight gain, and we look at gaining muscle. We do look at everything, part of that qualification. But actually the vast majority of it is weight loss, because weight loss is probably one of the most important things right now with growing obesity, with the cost in NHS, all of those kinds of issues right now. So when you compare that to a GP, they get about an hour throughout the whole of their GP training on menopause, and they get about an hour on fat loss for the general population. So going to your GP isn't always the best person to get weight loss advice from, or advice around the menopause, for example. However, tonight I'm going to give you some information that will help you, and you'll be able to take to your GP and ask questions, and hopefully get the right guidance around what you need. So, as I'm going to say, there's a different way. It doesn't have to be a struggle. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to, gain weight during the menopause. That doesn't have to happen. And I'm going to show you why it happens and how you can lose the weight or prevent it happening. So if you're not menopausal yet, this is not a waste of your time. And I probably should have said this earlier. Like, this isn't a waste of your time. You can get plenty out of this, because this, as I said, 90% of women gain weight during the menopause. And if I can help prevent that weight gain as you hit the menopause, then win-win. Just going to check here. Get bloods checked every 3 months. That's awesome, Susan. That's really, really good. About getting your bloods checked. That can also be really helpful when it comes to the menopause and stuff like that. So imagine being in control. So being in control of your health, being in control of your weight. Imagine losing all that gained weight during the menopause. Imagine keeping it off for good, having the tools, the knowledge, the understanding. Imagine dropping 20 pounds or more with these. Like generally, a lot of our clients lose about 20 pounds in roughly 12 weeks. Not everyone, but roughly that's pretty common that we see that happen. So here's a picture of a few more of our client success stories. If you haven't already, go to the guide section. I believe it's section 2 or section 3 in the guides. There's a load of before and afters. There's some client success videos. We get clients come on here and tell us about a story. But as you can see here on the left-hand side is Sue. So she was pre-diabetic. She was about to get a gastric band. And she came to me as kind of like a last resort. She lost 70 pounds within 8 months. And these pictures here, another 15 pounds that she lost in the first month of this year. In the middle picture, another lady, preferred me not to say her name, you can see she achieved those results in 28 days. The picture on the right, those pictures are 8 weeks apart. That's Ange. She started working with us in the middle of the pandemic. She was completing her PhD, so like up to her eyeballs with work, super busy. She was stuck. Like she'd never really done a diet. She'd never had to lose weight. She dropped 2 dress sizes in 12 weeks. In 6 months, she's dropped 3 dress sizes, now size 10. These pictures are only the first 8 weeks. And she's keeping the weight off. So hopefully you can see from these client success stories that you don't have to just be stuck. You don't have to accept the weight gain, and you can get it off, and you can get rid of the stubborn belly fat. Like it's 100% possible. So I'm going to introduce you to our method, the Revive method, but I'm going to more specifically talk about the menopause tonight. So let's get into it. In fact, who's excited? So press the like button, press the love heart button. If you're really excited for tonight, if you're ready for me to kind of break all this down. So tonight I'm going to break down why women gain weight during the menopause and what you can do about it. If you're excited, start pressing that like button, that love heart button. I'm just going to check the comments, see if there's any questions. Oh, I love it. Loving all the likes, loving all the love hearts. Honestly, I'm so excited for this evening. This is going to be someone's pressed the sad button. I'm so excited for this evening. This is probably the most planning I've done for any of these Monday or Tuesday night lives. And I've got so much value to give you. I thought someone pressed another crying face again. So first of all, it's important to understand, why do you gain weight? So why is it that 90% of women gain weight during the menopause? It's really important to understand that. As I said, that knowledge, that understanding is super powerful. We're going to go through every single step of these. So the reason I've got up this total daily energy expenditure, because each of these apply to these different aspects, and I'm going to explain each aspect. So the first reason that women gain weight as they get older, and especially during the menopause, is a reduction in muscle mass. Now, this happens over time anyway. Typically, women lose about 3% of their muscle mass every single decade. So every single 10 years, your muscle mass drops by about 3%. Due to the hormonal changes during the menopause, as in the drop in estrogen, the drop in progesterone, this muscle mass drop increases, it accelerates, it becomes faster. Now, that doesn't mean you have to accept it, and there is stuff you can do about it, and I'm going to come to that. But the reason I'm pointing at the BMR, so remember I talked about basal metabolic rate being essentially the energy you expend just lying in bed all day. This is going to be impacted by that loss in muscle mass, because muscle burns more calories ever so slightly. It's really, really small. Lots of people, lots of personal trainers will exaggerate this. It is very, very small. But the less muscle you have, the lower your BMR. So we want to keep our muscle mass as high as possible to help us burn as much energy as possible at rest. And the more muscle we have, the more we'll burn during exercise as well. The more we will burn, just full stop. However, it's not significant, the difference between muscle and fat. The problem is that you lose muscle decade upon decade upon decade, and it's over time. So by the time that you hit the menopause, you've lost a considerable amount of muscle mass, and then that accelerates at a faster rate. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how much that impacts your energy expenditure. It's not massive, but it's enough. The second thing is your lifestyle changes and you feel more fatigued. So there's a lot of hormonal changes. They end up giving you brain fog, fatigue, as you women all know. I'm teaching you how to suck eggs here. But the lifestyle changes, think about it. Think about your lifestyle in your 20s, your 30s, obviously depending on your age, 40s, 50s, 60s. Think about the job you do. So for me, when I was in my early 20s, I was a PE teacher, but I also had a part-time job in the evenings working in a gym. I played football, and I played football 3 times a week, and I went to the gym. My lifestyle was far more active. And the weekends, I'd go out with my friends, and I would go out drinking, but I'd dance. I like to dance. I think I've got some moves like Justin Timberlake. I probably haven't, but when I'm drunk, that's how I feel. I compare that to now. Now, obviously, I'm not in my 40s yet. I'm close. But compare that to now 30s. Now, doing this job, I'm no longer a PE teacher. I am a coach, but I'm an online coach. So I sit behind a computer. I'm sat down most of the time. I don't play football anymore. Since I had kids, I decided to make a choice to spend more time with my kids, because the level of football I played, I'd be away at weekends. So think about your lifestyle and your job. Is your job less active? Is your lifestyle less active? Do you dance less? Do you go out less? Do you walk less? Do you exercise less? All of those kinds of things. Our life changes. And typically, as people are more and more successful as they go through their life, they end up in more and more sedentary jobs. So that's point 2. The third point is your appetite significantly increases, because it's harder to regulate your appetite hormones, the 2 I talked about earlier, ghrelin and leptin. Now, again, just because I'm telling you this stuff, it doesn't mean there's nothing you can do about it. 100%, there is lots you can do. And then the fourth thing you need to be aware of is the reduction in estrogen and the increase in cortisol. I'm going to go into more depth in all of these. So if you're with me still, I want to make sure that you're all awake and you're all still with me. So just let me know, makes sense. Just comment makes sense in the comments. Anita's already dropped a question. Does resistance training help reduce the muscle mass loss? So I'm going to talk about that. I'm definitely going to answer that question. So weightlifting. Okay, so just want to make sure that everyone completely understands what I'm saying so far. Just drop me a makes sense in the comments. Brilliant. Michelle's saying makes sense. So all of these factors combined, so we're not just talking about one thing. So you might have gone, well, that's not happened to me. I'm just as active, or that's not happened to me. It's a combination of all these factors. They actually only contribute to about a daily energy expenditure drop of about 100 to 200 calories, approximately. Now, that's not a lot per day. That's about the equivalent of a chocolate bar. But if you have maintained your weight for a long time, and then you hit the menopause, and all of a sudden you've got this drop in your calorie expenditure, then you will slowly gain weight. And if a lot of our eating is subconscious, so if your appetite's gone up, you might not be aware of some of your eating habits. Like if you're not completely mindful, if you are not 100% aware of everything you're eating, and that's very, very common, a lot of our eating habits are subconscious, then you might be eating a little bit more than you think. So it can easily creep up. So we're going to talk about problem number 1, so reduced muscle mass. Now there's 2 things that you can do straight away to reduce your, to stop this happening. Now the first thing I'm going to say is this is one of the reasons why traditional diets are not helping you and not helping you in the long term. So first things first, it's important to understand how you can stop that muscle wastage. And remember, muscle is so important. It gives our body shape. It keeps our quality of life. So I think about my nan. The reason she struggles to sit down and stand up is because she hasn't got the muscles that she used to have. She's not strong. So it's really, really difficult for her now. And that's only because she's lost muscle. So it's super important we sustain muscle mass. And the best way to sustain muscle mass is through our diet. So without doing any exercise, you can keep hold of and maintain your muscle by eating sufficient protein. That's it. This is why protein is so important. It's the building blocks for every structure in the body. So it's so important. So eating sufficient protein can help stop you losing muscle mass. That's the first thing. Now, this is the reason why traditional diets are not helpful, because there is no focus on protein. There is no understanding about how much protein you should be eating. And therefore, if you're going on these diets, you're losing a lot of weight very, very quickly. Actually, a large percentage of that will be muscle, because you are not eating enough protein probably to sustain muscle mass. Second thing you can do, not necessarily to sustain muscle mass, but to build some muscle. If you want to increase your muscle mass, is lift some weights. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So, apologies, sometimes these slides take a little bit slow to get moving. Okay, so the information that I thought was there is not going to be there. I don't know what's happened to this presentation. So weight training, if we think about exercise on a scale, right? At one end of the scale, this hand here, right down this end, sorry, I'll bring it into the shot, okay, is no exercise, all right? That's like obviously not going to help at all, all right? That's like the bottom end of the scale, zero exercise at all. Then at the top end of the scale, we've got optimal. That's weight training. Lifting weights is optimal, and that's going to help you build muscle mass. Now, everything else is along this continuum. So the more weight-based or resistance-based, whether it could be body weight or whatever, is closer to optimal, and then cardio is further towards this end. But that doesn't mean that it's no benefit to it. So it's important to recognize this, because actually the exercise you enjoy is the best form of exercise. Even though weight training is optimal, as I said, as long as you eat sufficient protein, you can sustain muscle mass. All right, you can keep your muscle mass. You can stop that decline. Weight training will help promote more muscle. But if you don't enjoy it, if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to stick to it, there's no point. Because it's the same with an approach to your nutrition. It's the same with your approach to anything. If you're not going to stick with it, then don't do it, because you'll do something, you'll see some results, and then because you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick to it, you'll stop, and then you'll revert back to what you did before. All right. So weight training is optimal, but just any kind of exercise you enjoy is great, and it's going to help. Now, before you kind of think, oh, but I don't want to get bulky. Well, as you get older, and first of all, women don't have the same level of testosterone as men, so it's harder to build muscle. But as you get older, the ability to grow muscle is harder. Now, if you're very, very lucky, and this is if you're training regularly, 3-4 times a week, you're eating sufficient protein, your training program is spot on, genetically, you've got like great genetics for building muscle. Like if all the conditions are perfect, you might gain a pound a month. A pound a month, 12 pounds, a stone of muscle in a year. Now, that's not going to make you massive. Like I lift weights, I do it like 2-3 times a week, and I'm not massive. Okay, I'm not very big at all. I probably don't eat enough protein regularly enough. There's lots of things I can do. It's not a priority for me. Okay, I probably don't eat enough food. So think about it. I'm training loads. I'm a man. I've got more testosterone than you. I've got a better chance to grow more muscle, and I'm not very big. All right. As a woman in later stage of life, it's really, really hard. So you're not going to get bulky. Now, some of you are probably watching this going, I just want to tone. Now, you can only lose fat or build muscle. There's only 2 structures in the body that you can really influence: lose fat or build muscle. So when you say toning, there isn't a third thing. So if you want to tone, you're doing one or the other. It's really, really hard to do both. It's possible, but it's hard. So if you want to tone, essentially what you're saying you want to do is you want to lose fat. All right, because let's look at my arm, right? Oh, and let's get it in shot. Okay. At the moment, it doesn't look very defined. In order for that to look defined, I need to lose fat. I need to get rid of the fat that surrounds the muscle so that then I can see it. So if you want to look more defined, if you want to look more toned, what you're saying is, I want to lose fat. I want to lose more fat. So hopefully I've cleared up a load of stuff there. So just comment again, say makes sense. I hope you're still with me. I hope you're loving it. In fact, let me know if you're loving this so far. Just comment loving it, so I know that you're getting loads of value out of this. This is really helpful, really interesting. As I said, I told you I'm going to go really deep on stuff today. I'm going to give so much information and value. Like, I really, really want to help. Okay, it's taking its time to get to the next slide. Okay, so as we talked about, your lifestyle, the changes in your lifestyle, the fatigue as well that you feel during the menopause is going to equal reduced movement. So the section, so you've got your BMR, the biggest part, and then the next biggest section is your NEAT. So NEAT is like blinking, fidgeting, just your daily movements. It's not planned. It's stuff that you just do without thinking about. Okay, you can't really control it, and this reduces. And there's not much you can do consciously. But one thing I do want to talk about is the things that are not necessarily helpful. So when you go through the menopause, the changes in your hormones, especially the reduction in your estrogen, which is a protective hormone, super, super important for women. It's really protective. That actually can result in lots of things happening to the body. And one of those is an increase in cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Now, cortisol is not a bad thing, not in small doses. But when it's chronically elevated, which can happen more during the menopause, that can lead to water retention, so you can bloat more. But the other thing you need to be aware of this is actually exercise, dieting, like emotions. All of these things are stressors, and they cause stress on the body. Stress on the body causes increased cortisol. If you are consuming too much, and you gain weight, this is why women gain weight around their stomach, because cortisol as a hormone directs that fat gain to that area. It's one of the reasons why. I don't know why this happens, but generally because of the increase in cortisol, women tend to then gain weight around their stomach area. That's where the adipose tissue is stored. So doing exercise like HIIT or anything that's really, really strenuous, really, really stressful on the body is probably not beneficial. Hence why I've got the picture of Joe Wicks with a cross for it. All right, you need to think about how to best look after your fatigue, how to manage your stress, how to manage your body. So the problem with exercise, especially during the menopause, which we're going to come to in a minute, okay, is that it's a stressor. So it increases cortisol and it increases fatigue. Now you think about it, if you're stressing the body, if you're fatigued already, and then you're placing extra stress on the body, that's going to probably lead to you sitting more. And actually it can impact other things which you have very little impact over, like your blinking, your fidgeting. And as they say, you can't out-train a bad diet. So what I would recommend, I'm not going to go into loads of detail about this, what I'd recommend you do, so a lot of people believe they need to exercise to lose weight. You don't. And actually, during the menopause, it's super important to manage your exercise. I'm not saying don't exercise. You don't have to. It's not important for weight loss. But you need to manage it, and you need to understand how to manage it. So what I would recommend you do is, if you still think that exercise is really effective for weight loss, you need to exercise, go and watch some of the client success stories. People like Sam, people like Joe last week. They've lost Joe's lost 37 pounds, Sam's lost over 40 pounds. They've not done any formal exercise. Okay, so it's a fallacy. And go watch the Pillar 2 training. Okay, it explains why exercise is ineffective for weight loss. And another thing it can do is increase appetite. And we've already talked about how it's really hard to regulate your appetite during the menopause. So as we talked about, weight training is the most effective form of training, and especially during the menopause. And if you manage it correctly, it can help with managing your fatigue as well. And the other things which are really important during the menopause is stress management. Super, super important. Sleep hygiene. There was a study that showed that if you don't get sufficient sleep, sufficient good quality sleep, when you lose weight, if you're losing weight, actually a larger percentage of that weight loss will come from muscle if you're not getting sufficient sleep. Now, some of you are probably watching this and thinking, well, I don't get good night's sleep because of the menopause, because of hot flashes. Going to talk about that as well. And it's super important to manage your fatigue. It's super important to manage your stress. It's super important to manage your energy levels, especially during the menopause. If you want to be consistent, see results and keep the weight off. Now, another reason why weight training can be amazing for women during the menopause is it's been proven, it's been shown to help regulate and control hot flashes. Weight training can have a positive impact on reducing those, so it can help with sleep. And another thing, I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's just popped into my head. A lot of people will do keto and they'll get rid of carbs because they think that, they have to do that. You don't have to do that, by the way. It's nonsense. Carbohydrates really help with sleep. So if you're going to cut them out of your diet, I would actually try and include them in your main meal, in your dinner. Carbs, well, any food, doesn't cause fat gain. No food in isolation. You can eat all foods and lose weight. Again, if you've not seen it, go watch the Pillar 1 training. All of these videos are in the guide section of the Facebook group. Just saying, I'm living proof. Yeah, Michelle's living proof. Yes, very stressed. Fantastic info. I can see people are loving it. Awesome, I love it. So problem 3, increased appetite. So we talked about ghrelin and leptin. They're the 2 key hormones for regulating your appetite. Now, because of that estrogen, because of that drop in that estrogen, it's very hard to regulate appetite. And this is really complicated. I can't go through everything. I'm already spoken for 40 minutes and you guys have been amazing. I've still got some amazing information to give you, some amazing tips to cover. So I'm not going to dive into this in too much detail because I don't want to go on all night. But appetite is super complicated. There are environmental factors. So environmental factors, what I mean by that is what you're surrounded by, where you go, where you walk, food in your house, where it's kept, the people you live with. There are lots of factors in your environment which will impact your appetite. So changing your environment and moving stuff will have a big impact. Stress, emotions can impact appetite, as can sleep as well. Not getting sufficient sleep has an impact on ghrelin and leptin. We all wake up the next morning, if we've had a crap night's sleep, wanting, sugary coffee or tea, biscuits, things that are high in energy. And then actual hunger. So if you're not eating, sufficient protein or sufficient food, or the makeup of your diet in general is not appropriate, you will be hungry, just naturally. So we've got all of these factors which will impact your appetite. So this is, as you hopefully can see, this is a little bit more complex. So in order to regulate appetite, what you can do is manage your stress, have a good sleep routine, good sleep hygiene, analyze and improve your diet to reduce your appetite. Now, there are things that you can tweak within your diet to reduce your appetite. Build better habits, be more mindful when you're eating. And what we do is we work one-to-one so that we can analyze and improve your diet, so that we can highlight the individual factors which need to change within your life. And the last one is that reduced estrogen, which I've talked so much about, and how that impacts cortisol, how it impacts ghrelin and leptin and all those other things. Now, whoever tells you can balance your hormones, I've already covered that, they can't. But here's what you can do, and here's what will help. All right. So all of the things we've talked about, weight training, stress management, sleep hygiene, all of that stuff is really important, especially during the menopause. But HRT might be a good option. Now, it's really important. I have to say this before I talk about anything. I am not qualified to prescribe HRT. I'm not qualified to tell someone that they should be on HRT or anything like that. Now, lots of women won't take HRT because of a study that was done in the early 2000s, which basically has been shown to be nonsense. There's so many flaws in the study, but that study showed that there was a potential link between HRT and breast cancer. It's been proven to be false. It's not the truth. That is not the case. In fact, there is one form of HRT that if you take it, you have as much chance of getting breast cancer as if you were to drink 2 units of alcohol every single night. So there's as much chance, and that's only with one of the types of HRT. There's lots of different forms of HRT. So it depends which one you have. And this is where I would say to you, like, it's not a weakness. Like, it can help. It can help with hot flashes. It can help with sleep. And I would recommend speaking to your doctor, and I would recommend doing some more reading and research. And I can point you to some places that are really good for this. But it's not a weakness. It can really, really help. Now, if it's not for you, if you don't want to take it, that's absolutely fine. And there are side effects for some people, and that they don't like those. That's okay. When you speak to your doctor, it should be the first treatment that they offer. And you can get prescribed for like £6 a month or whatever. It's super cheap. You don't need to go see a specialist. You don't need to pay in hundreds of pounds. Go and speak to your doctor. It should be the first treatment that they offer. And you should be able to be on it for the rest of your life. One thing you need to be aware of is that women on hormone therapy, or as people believe it to be called HRT, actually statistically live longer than women not on it. Estrogen's protective, as I've talked about loads. So the reason that women are at higher risk of cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, all of those kinds of things is because of those drops in estrogen and progesterone. And that's another reason why weight training is so important, because it helps to prevent osteoporosis, which is obviously prevalent and quite high in women after they go, or when they go through the menopause. And one thing I can't believe I haven't even spoken about. Now, you might be in your 60s, you might be thinking you're kind of post-menopausal, but what you need to understand is actually, once you go through the menopause, that's it. Essentially, you're menopausal forever, because those hormones, those estrogen levels, progesterone levels, don't pick back up again. So all of these things that we're talking about are lifestyle things that need to be changed for good, not just for, the menopause. They're things that need to be consistent. So it's about finding an approach, a way of doing this that fits you, fits your lifestyle, that you can be consistent with. I can see there's loads of comments. So just, okay, so Venezia, actually, if you're on thyroid medication, there are forms of HRT, there are forms of hormone therapy that you can take, but you obviously need to speak to a consultant. So there are lots and lots of different types. Now, that's not, it's a fallacy that you can't have it. And we had, so our members, we had Amanda Thebe. If you don't know who Amanda Thebe is, she's got an amazing book called Menopausal. So she it's an Amazon bestseller. Talks all about the menopause, talks about all kind of stuff I'm talking about tonight. She came in to our private members group and she did a guest speaker appearance last week, and she talked all about this. So you can be on hormone therapy, even if you've had cancer, breast cancer, even if there are potential things. Go and speak to your doctor, go and get checked. Obviously, I'm not saying you definitely can have HRT or hormone therapy, because I don't know your whole medical history, but it is possible to be on hormone therapy even if you are on thyroid medication as well. And there are other forms of medications that can help. And there are forms of antidepressants that can be helpful. As I said, doctors don't always have a lot of training in this, so I can try and point you in the direction of some good resources. Menopausal, the book by Amanda Thebe, is a great place to start. So you probably watched this evening. Now, I've spoken for like 48 minutes and you've been amazing. Like, you've stuck with it, you've commented, you've liked, and you might be thinking, right, how do I lift weights? Like, what movements do I do? How do I do it safely and correctly? Like, how often? How much? How much protein should I be eating? How do I eat that much protein? What about my diet? How can I change my diet to reduce my appetite? How do I change my habits? What habits should I focus on? How can I improve my sleep? How can I manage my stress? There might be 101 questions going through your head right now. And that's totally understandable. This is why at this stage in your life, I believe, and why I offer a one-to-one lifestyle coaching approach. Because as you can see, there's lots of things to focus on. And what typically happens with people, just people in general, is we have negativity bias. Now, you've probably not heard of that before, but everyone has experienced it. So it's where you try and change so many things, like you're trying to change everything all at once. But the problem with that is, and I talk about this in the Pillar 2 training, is that when we try and change so many things, is that it's hard to focus on everything. And the likelihood is you're going to fail one of those changes. Like, let's say you focus on 5 habits. You want to change 5 things, or you want to change more. Now, you're probably not going to be able to do that. And you're going to focus on the one thing that you haven't successfully changed. That's called negativity bias. And you beat yourself up and you go off track and you think, oh, well, I haven't done it. So what we do instead, and how we differ from probably most other approaches, is we have a step-by-step approach. So we work one-to-one. We do a full initial assessment and we analyze what needs to change and in what order. So what is the most important thing for you? What habit needs to change first? What is the first step? And then week after week, another step, another step, another step. And think about it, like 1 step at a time, maybe 2 steps at a time, 3 steps at a time. Like, you're less likely to have that negativity bias. You're more likely to feel successful. You're more likely to feel positive. You're more likely to see success, especially if you know what the biggest key habits to change at any one time are. And the other thing that we do is we have our 3 pillars. So if you haven't already, there's lots of newbies in the group. I recommend you go and watch the Pillar 1 training, the Pillar 2 training, the Pillar 3 training. Those in particular are going to depth in each pillar. This is how we help women. So we give them food freedom, because if you are restrictive, you cut food out, you're less likely to stick to it. Now, I don't want to go into detail because there's a whole video training on this. We show you and we help you make that step-by-step changes. And the most important aspect, I think, is the mindset part. We help you to rediscover and rewire the woman that you want to be, the vibrant, confident woman that you're aiming for. So what I'm going to talk about next is, if you've watched this evening and you want us, like me or a member of my team, and you want me or someone in my team to take you by the hand, and you want us to go through those steps with you and step by step take you through our program and help you get results like our women are getting, then all you need to do is comment, "I'm next." All right. Now, if you comment, "I'm next," that doesn't mean you've signed up. That doesn't mean that we're getting started tomorrow. Okay. There's a process we have. Because we work one-to-one, we want to make sure that you're a good fit. And what I mean by that is, one, we want to make sure 100%, we want to be 100% certain we can help you. Okay. If we can help you, then we will potentially talk about what it would be like for us to work with you. And we would talk about how we would help you specifically, because we provide a completely personalized program. So if you've watched tonight, or if you've watched any of the other trainings and you think, do you know what, like, I don't know how, I don't know, what do I start with? What habits do I change? Like, how do I eat sufficient protein? Like, how do I improve my sleep? How do I get my, where do I start? And you want us to help you do that, take you by the hand, step by step, and you want to get the same results as you see from our client success stories, then comment, "I'm next," in the comments. And what will happen next is I'll reach out to you, I'll send you a private message, and we'll start the conversation. And we'll see if it's the right thing for you. Now, it might not be for everyone here, and that's absolutely fine. As I said, I will give a ton of value in this group for free, but I will recommend that some of you work with us. Rather than spending another 5, 10, 15, 20 years wasting money on diet program. And if you watch the content in my group, you'll see why they haven't served you and why they won't serve you going forwards. Now, it might not be our approach that fits you, but I would recommend a personalized approach where you have that individual guidance and support that can help you with all of this stuff, because that's the only way to get long-lasting, sustainable results. Now, I'm going to stay on for a little bit. This is an opportunity to ask questions. I'm just going to have a look at the comments. So Suzanne said it really works, guys. I'm living proof. So yeah, I haven't asked Suzanne. In fact, Suzanne, I should probably ask you to come on soon. So Suzanne is one of our clients, and she's literally just finished. Oh, my camera's just died. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. So Suzanne's one of our clients, and she has hit her goal weight, and she's now maintaining. She's not counting calories. She's not tracking her food. Nothing like that. So, feel free to message any of the clients in here that I spoke to. Diane, best decision I've ever made. So Diane, how much have you lost now? Diane's lost over 40 pounds. She's come off all her blood pressure medication. Jenny, so is it best not to do any cardio exercises? I'm doing an hour a day and enjoying it. So should I not do it? If you enjoy cardio, do it. If you enjoy it, I'm just, in terms of weight loss, it's not going to have a significant impact on your weight loss. What the research shows as well, I'd recommend going and watching the Pillar 2 video in the contents. What the research shows is that actually cardio increases appetite. Now, it might not for you, but it does for the majority of people, whether that's subconscious, consciously. So you need to be aware of your eating habits, especially if you're training that regularly and training that much. Oh, my camera's gone. Okay, I'll go to my rubbish FaceTime camera. Apologies for that. So, great question. I'm not saying don't do cardio. It's just not optimal. It's just not the best form of training. But that doesn't mean it's not helpful. Any other questions? So I'll just check, see if there's none further up. I've got Fitness Pal, find it good. That's awesome. Diane's on antidepressants for it. I'm on works for me. Okay, that should be roughly what percentage of your what percentage of our diet should be protein? Well, it's actually better to do it as grams per kilogram of body weight. Now, for health purposes, you want to have 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight as a minimum. For actual, it depends. There's so many factors here, Anita. Obviously, I can't tell. Each person's different because of different sizes, different amount of muscle mass. And also, it depends how quickly you're losing weight, want to lose weight, because actually, if you're trying to lose weight quicker, you need more protein because you're more susceptible to losing muscle. If you're leaner, so if you've got less body fat, you need more protein because you're more susceptible to losing muscle mass. So there's a few factors there, but I would just start by a minimum. The easiest way to start is to just say, right, I want to get protein with every meal. So that'd be your first kind of target. And then after that, you want to be aiming for 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Sam, I spoke to a few people in here, said they had to track. One said they don't track their food. Do we have to track? So no. And in fact, we've changed the program significantly. So what we've actually put together, and I talk about this in the Pillar 1 training video, is we have a meal template. And I believe I spoke to you about this, Sam, on our call. So no, you don't have to track your food. If you want to, if you like tracking, yeah, 100% you can. But we have clients that have never tracked. We have clients that track, like it, and still track. We have clients that have tracked and have learned how not to track. So we've helped them come away from tracking. So to answer that in a short sentence, no, you don't have to track. You don't have to count calories to lose weight. Any other questions? I know there's a slight delay, so I'm just going to give it another second. Okay, I don't think there's any other questions. So I just want to say firstly, thank you ever so much for everyone that's turned up this evening. I've really enjoyed sharing all that information. I've really enjoyed this evening, and hopefully you've got a lot out of it. If you found this beneficial, let me know in the comments. Press the like button, press the love heart button. If you are interested in having a discussion about us helping you get the same kind of results that our clients are getting, just stick a comment there, or feel free to private message me and we can have that conversation. That's it from me. I'll see you all again soon. Next Monday, 8 p.m, we've got Natalie. She's lost more than 40 pounds within 6 months, and she's kept the weight off ever since. So she's been maintaining her weight without any of our help, without any coaching, for more than 6 months now. I would recommend you join Monday night, 8 p.m, find out how she's achieved it, how she's found the program, what she's learned, and get some motivation. So thank you, Adam. This has been so interesting. I track because I like it, not because of calories. Donna, great content, Adam. Thank you. Interesting. Thanks. Awesome. Looks like you all loved it this evening. Good to see people are happy and enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.